A Green Spark. Chapter 9. Everything went fuzzy for what felt like hours on end, maybe even a day. I've been fighting this spell for so long. I opened my eyes and breathed heavy, feeling trapped in a white space. That's all I could see. When I opened my eyes and walked around what I can only think of as my mind, I was overtaken by the spell and everything just seemed white. This blinding white everywhere. I tried to run for as far as I could, hoping maybe I could just outrun this feeling of being surrounded by fog. Come on, you idiots, walk faster! I could just barely make out the words that had been yelled into my ears by Ava's voice. Everything sounded so much like static, but maybe I was getting closer to escaping this hell. I kept running. I felt myself getting tired easily. I felt my lungs give in as I screamed for Carl. Clinton? I hear his voice say through the static. I ran towards where I could hear it, and I saw him on the other side of a chasm. I smiled as tears filled my eyes. I sat at the edge of it. Clinton, what's going on? Are you hurt? Clinton? I can't help but cry as I see him on the other side. A mix of sadness seeing the bruising on his arms, which I could only assume was from Ava tugging us around, and happiness just knowing because she used the same spell on both of us, we were stuck here together. We were still just both surrounded by white, but now we had each other. I look up at him, smiling as I rub the tears from my eyes, and he sighs as he sits down on the side of his chasm. I see tears forming in his eyes, but he just smiled at me and waited until I calmed down. I hiccup slightly as the tears fade, and shake my head, rubbing the tear stains from my face. Carl, I have a plan, I say, standing up as I look towards the fog. Nothing had changed, but I could start hearing again. What? He says, just before an echoing voice surrounds us. Pathetic creatures. Ava's voice rang out as the fog lifted. We could finally see. It was like looking through a computer screen. We were still trapped inside the spell, but I was determined to stop this. I had turned to face the screen, standing tall before I noticed what she had done. Using her magic, she had trapped Star and Emma, along with someone else, in a corner. We were standing on top of a small wall constructed from broken tree shards. To the ground, and mainly her magic. Clinton, what do we do? Carl said, scared and staring at me for support. I clench my fists and stare at the screen. We scream our heads off and hope that our words can actually break through this spell, I say calmly. He stares at me and starts shaking. What? You don't have a real plan? That's the best you've got? We'd be lucky if we made it alive doing that! He yells as tears drip down his face. I let him yell, knowing this is just because he's tired of this hell she's put us through. I understand everything he's feeling, and I smile and shake my head. Yep, I say, looking back at the screen. I could see him out of the corner of my eye. Calm down and look up. What did you do to them? Star said, glancing between me and Carl. Did she notice? Was she able to see past the spell? I bite my tongue, almost afraid to scream as I noticed Emma looking at Ava with such fear. She was mumbling something to herself as she stared, her body shaking much more than I'd ever seen before. Hell, I don't even think I've seen that much amount of fear on anybody's face. What? Don't you like my new puppets? Ava chuckled and lifted her hand, causing our bodies to jolt upright, readying themselves for battle. Starine! I screamed, making Carl flinch. He paused and looked at the screen, hoping for something, but yet we got nothing. She was always so pathetic, Ava mumbled, looking at Emma, watching as tears streamed down her face. Emma, focus! You're okay here! We're here! Star yelled, glancing between herself and Emma before looking at Ava. Her jaw dropped as she laughed. I couldn't see Ava very well, but I could see the black feathered wings out of the corner of my vision. Winter, just focus on Emma right now. Don't focus on me, Star said to the newest member of their group. He had dark gray hair, but nothing that would seem like age would do it to him. He looked about my age, and when he looked over at Star, I could see fear as he noticed her form. A form I had just now realized was her demon form. He shook his head and continued to stay by Emma's side as she seemed to be trapped in a flashback. I felt Ava's power grow. She looked towards us, and her expression seemed to change from fear to anger. I choked on tears I didn't dare let flood my eyes once again as Emma fell to her knees, her cries reaching our ears. I don't want to die again! I don't want to go back to it! Oh, God, Carl said, his worst fears coming to light. We really did. Stop it, I mutter, glaring at him. Can't you see? She's alive. It doesn't matter how, but she is, and we need to keep it that way. Do you understand me? Carl's body stiffens, but he nods quickly. What do we do? He said, now staring at Star's hands. They held bright blue glowing fireballs. Pray. Ava, you sick freak! Star yelled, the fire glowing in her hands. I had my assumptions, I had clues, but I know that this is what you are. It sickens me, and it should sicken you as well. You were once an angel, weren't you? One with holy white wings, and I'm sure a normal halo. Isn't this proof enough that what you're doing is wrong? Sacrifices need to be made to make this world pure, and I may be punished for it, but everyone will know that I'm right. I don't need holy wings to show it. They will all know. I cringed at Ava's cold words, her monotone yet power-hungry voice. Now shut up and die so I don't have to keep looking at the disgusting form. My eyes widened as I saw her movements, and then ours. No, please! I yelled, watching our bodies lunge towards hers. I could see myself screaming and flinching at my own words before glancing at Carl. I could see our lips trembling every time we spoke. There might just be a chance this could work. He nodded, smiling at me and screaming alongside me. I watched as a fireball burst towards Carl and me, both tossing us to the sides. I winced in pain, crumbling down to my knees as Carl crumbled to the ground in pain, crying out weakly. Oh, wow! The goody two-shoes pacifist can kill people. I glare up the screen as Ava laughs at Star. Her voice sent a shiver of fear through my body, wondering if Star would actually kill us. She has gotten so much stronger. Please! Carl screams as we're forced to stand once again. Shut up! Star screams at Ava, creating more fire in her hands. Let's see how much damage you really can do. I cringed, expecting her to throw us at Star, but instead, she caught her off guard and flew towards her. I saw Star's eyes widen with a silent scream as Ava punched her side, knocking the wind out of her and sending her to the ground. That new kid, Winter, his voice was low as he looked at Ava, almost like a growl that came from his throat, sending a shiver down my spine. Was he another demon? God damn it, we had no chance at surviving this. Please, damn it, stop this! I yelled, tears sparkling in my eyes before I angrily blinked them away. I felt another surge of pain as we started walking towards them again. Please, no! Please, I don't want to do this anymore! Carl screams. Don't hurt them! Star screamed. She knew, she really knew! I watched as tears formed in Carl's eyes, and not just in this spell space. Something is wrong! It's not them! We stopped walking just in front of them. I was standing in front of Star, and Carl was standing in front of Emma. I wanted so badly to reach over and protect him. So I put him up against the strongest one of their group. I don't care! They lay a finger on you, and I'm not hesitating this time! Clinton, I'm scared! Carl screamed, just looking into Emma's eyes as he stared her down. I don't want to die! You're not going to, damn it! I won't let anyone hurt you. I'm going to save you, I promise! I glare back through these screens, glaring back towards the scene in front of us. Just like a monster. I cringe as Ava spits her words at Emma. And look at the new abomination here, she says, drawing our attention to Winter. He now had a new form of his own. It was much like his normal form, but now he had wolf-like ears and a tail that was still behind him. I could tell something was wrong with you. I watched as his ears tilted back, almost laying flat against his head as he growled, that low voice now having a form to express it properly. I glanced over at Carl, who was sitting there in both admiration and fear. That is enough from you. You say one more bad thing about these people and I'll rip you to shreds myself. And the moment those words were spoken, only fear was on our faces. We could hear every little low growl in his words, the fear his strong demeanor invoked every time his lips moved. Well, well, big words from a pup like yourself. Ava glared down at him as we stood in front of Star and Emma. I wince in pain as the screen gets covered by a thick fog, one that almost blinds the view between Carl and me. Please, help us! I screamed as loud as I could, and I could hear my voice echo. Did that work? Carl looked at me with the same confused look. It's a spell! Carl screams, and although quieter than me, we can still hear his voice echo as well. We fall to the floor a second later as we feel a fireball take us down. I cry out in pain as I feel my elbow twisted. I felt the weakness in it. Star was fighting back, which was good, but God, did it hurt! I felt my knees hit the ground below me, causing me to crumble before I felt a blunt but severe pain in my chin. Fuck! I yell, crumbling to the ground and holding my jaw. It's 2 against 1, you idiots! Take her down! Ava's voice rang out as Carl crumbled to the ground. I felt us fighting, and then a pause. A quiet pause filled with anxieties. Oh God, what did we do? What were we about to? Please! Please don't kill us! Carl screamed, tears streaming off his cheeks. Please! There was that echo again. End her, damn it! Ava's voice boomed. No, please! I yelled, fearing the actions she was causing, unable to see the battle at hand, but feeling every movement, every pulse of pain. And then the searing pain of fire against our chests. It didn't even matter if I could see it happen or not. I knew the fire. I knew the pain. I choked on a cry, screaming out just as Carl did. I felt the light around us fade, and things started to crumble below us. It started to fade to black. And it was then that I started to panic along with Carl. Carl! I screamed, still full of fear while holding my hand out as I weakly tried to get to him. The ground collapsed beneath my every step, making it impossible to reach him. Clinton! I heard him cry as everything went black. I groaned as my eyes weakly opened. I shot upwards in search of Carl, but instead I froze in fear as Star, Winter, and Emma stand in front of us. Star could see past everything. Ava. Wait, where is Ava? I continued looking around, scared before I heard Carl mumble. It hurts. I groaned in pain, feeling my body give out from beneath me. Whatever I was leaning against was now gone. Damn it, that didn't matter. You were right, Emma said, looking at us. But it didn't matter. They almost killed us. They were going to kill us. We killed her. I shake my head and move closer to Carl. Words stuck in my throat as he whimpers in pain beside me. I felt just as much pain, but I wouldn't dare let that get to me. I couldn't let them kill him now. Not like this. I grit my teeth and glare at them. They were under a spell. I felt so angry now. Did you really think we'd try and kill you again? We were friends, damn it! We couldn't fight the spell enough. We agreed to it. I flinch as I see them move slightly and quickly put my hand over Carl, biting my tongue and glaring at them. Don't you dare. I will kill all of you myself if you hurt him more. I can heal you. I promise I didn't mean to hurt you guys. Please let me heal you, Star said, moving a little closer, slowly. I felt my breathing slow down to her soft words. It's going to be scary, and I know you're already scared, but I promise I don't want to hurt anybody. She never does. She was always so nice to us. Please, everything hurts so much, Carl said, gripping my sweater tightly in his hands. I shake as my hand stays above him, glaring at Star as she stands there. Please. Her words were so soft, and I slowly moved my hand away. I promise I'm not going to hurt him. I couldn't form any words as I stared in fear of this demon in front of me, her wings moving more behind her, making her smaller. I watched as she placed her hand above Carl's burns. I watched in fear as Carl turned his head, looking as well. She looked so scared of herself. Small flames sparked to life under her palm. No, damn it, I won't let you! My angry thoughts were cut short as Carl holds me back, trusting her more than myself. I felt my body relax from a lunge that I didn't even process. I watched as his burns healed under the flame, his skin returned to that soft peachy color. I couldn't help but admire at this moment. I only watched Carl, making sure her magic had no bad effect as she healed me. Sorry, I didn't mean to ignore you. I just wanted to make sure they were okay. I flinch at Star's words as she turns to the other. Clinton? I look towards Carl as he speaks softly. His eyes were looking at me with such worry. Are you okay? I paused, just looking at him, my throat feeling tight, my body still shaking. I assessed every injury I knew I had before, every scratch, every bruise. And it was all gone. I was okay. I'm okay, I say, more to myself than him. I sighed, my breath coming so softly to my lungs. I'm okay. Hey. I look up at Emma, who quickly crouches in front of us. I am so sorry. No, it's okay. We're okay, Carl said, smiling. Yeah, we tried really hard to fight the spell she put us in. I mumble, looking down at my hands, fearful to ask what we really did. God, I mumble, bringing my legs up to my chest. I felt Carl's hands on my shoulder as Emma just sat silently in front of us with a warm smile. I'm really happy you two aren't hurt. I can't imagine all the work she put on you two. She paused and sighed, looking at us with remorse. Were you two under her spell the whole time? Yes, I say quickly, wanting to set it straight, to let her know we wouldn't have done any of that ourselves. Yes, I promise you, she put us under that goddamn spell the moment she got there. The first class we had with her, I promise you, Emma. Hey, it's all right. I believe you. She sighs and looks away from us, looking at Star, who was talking with Winter. I just wish I believed Star. I put my hand on her shoulder and smile weakly. I don't blame you. I understood why she couldn't believe we were under a spell, but it was nice to hear her easily believe us now. I watched as Carl kept his eyes on Star as she walked closer. He changed his stance, now sitting on his legs as she came over. I flinched as he pretty much tackled and hugged her, making her land on her butt. Hey, it's okay. I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. Are you both healed well? Was there anything I missed? Her words fell short as Carl starts sobbing, hugging her tightly as she sits up. Thank you. Thank you for not killing us. I'm so sorry we couldn't fight the spell enough, Carl said, grabbing her shirt tightly in his hands. I smiled softly, seeing how worried for her he was, even if she was worried about us just as much. Hey, it's okay. She had you both under a pretty strong spell. I was surprised you guys were even able to speak, she said softly, patting his back. I smile at Emma and stand up, wanting to go home. Think you can forgive us again? I say gently, trying not to sound as guilty as I felt. I don't need to forgive you guys. You did nothing wrong, Emma said as I helped her up. She put her hands in her pockets, and we both watched as Carl's sobbing started to stop. I can't imagine how much pain you guys were in. A spell like that would have had a pretty bad effect on your minds as well, Winter said softly. I looked at him, a little confused by his presence. I smiled, trying to put the warmest joking smile I could on. Who's this furry? I chuckled softly, smiling at the new guy. I tense my jaw awkwardly as he looks at me with disgust. Says the one who was in furry costumes to ambush us, Emma said, pushing my shoulder. I meant no harm by asking it. I was sure it was obvious to you two that we were... Anyway, who are you? I looked back at the room. Sure, I knew his name now, but not really who he was. Winter Silverstone, he groaned, and I felt a bit more awkward, guilty, and embarrassed. I shake my head, ignoring it as my face turns red. A friend of Star's. Another demon? Carl asked, looking up at him. Now that I was out of the spell, I could finally see his ears and tail move, properly. Those aren't fake? I flinched, almost jumping back as his ears twitched. He laughed. It was a hearty laugh, one that made my stomach flutter. You want to see something better? He said, stretching. What could be better than a new furry friend, if he is a furry? I couldn't help but admire the soft silver fur that formed over him as he turned into this brilliantly formed wolf. You could see his muscles through the thick but soft fur. That's so cool! Carl said, jumping up and running up to him, stopping abruptly in front of him, wary. You aren't wild like this, are you? Nope, still me, he said calmly, smiling at us. Can I touch your fur? Carl said, admiring it below his hands. I snickered. It was an odd question, something that you shouldn't just ask people. The moment Winter nodded, Carl seemed to bury his hands into his fur. So, what are you, if I might ask? I say, standing beside Carl and admiring the fur laced in between Carl's hands. A half-blood like Star is. I can turn into a wolf. Any other animals? Carl said, looking at his tail and the way it wagged slowly from side to side. Nope, just a wolf, and for the record, he looks back up at me. I'm not a furry. I sighed and rubbed the back of my neck. Yeah, I assumed that was the wrong way to start that. It's nice to meet you, though. You as well. A friend of Star's is a friend of mine. I cringe, assuming he doesn't exactly know how we all met. And then my heart sinks a little as he said Star's name, looking back at them before Emma and Star snuck out of the small dead end. I sighed and rested against the garage door, looking at Carl as he sat down to get more comfortable. You like her? I say, wanting to get it out of the way. He flinches and looks back at the corner, unable to see her. I think so. Darn, Carl says softly, laughing anxiously as we both look at him confused. I blushed, almost happy about it as I looked at Carl. I shook my head quickly and pushed myself off the garage. All right, I'm ready to go home, I say, feeling my body weigh me down. Yeah, me too, Carl said, standing up. We all walk over to Star and Emma, who just looked as tired as us. Looks like everyone needs to sleep. Maybe the whole weekend, Star said, smiling at us. I nodded and Carl pulled my arm along gently. We waved goodbye to the others and walked down the alleyway. Where are we, anyway? I mumbled, watching as Carl continued to pull me along. Our back alley, but I thought it would be awkward to go through the gate after everything, so let's just walk to the front. Oh, I laughed as I looked back down the way we came. That would be kind of awkward, huh? He nods as we continue walking home.